So this mass psychosis continues, and this video is made to make a recap of the latest events, especially this summer. Let's start from before that. So back in 2020, I made some predictions. I said this: if the deal won't be nullified, right, and so everything will go to court, then everything will continue in the exact same manner. And that manner is as follows: everywhere I go, everyone makes up false stories about me, and you get rewarded for it. I get cyberbullied and dehumanized everywhere, and this is exactly what happened. And I made more predictions. I said most of the story will have an emphasis on incriminating me for the crimes, and it's also exactly what happened. And you don't need to believe me because I say it. You will believe me because I will prove it. And what else did I say? Eventually I wrote 2 books later on, and in one of them I explained how I can prove the truth. So one of the things that I said was that I was going to pass the lie detector test, and everybody else was going to fail because everybody else lied and I'm saying the truth. So I went on to prove that. I literally went there. I paid I think over 1,000 euros just to take a 10 minutes lie detector test. And I was asked 32 questions, out of which I passed 28. 28 out of 32. It's approximately the accuracy of the average lie detector test. It's 80 something percent. If I would have been lying, it would have been the other way around. I would have failed 28 questions and passed 4. That's not what happened. 3 out of these questions, 3 questions, I'm asked about sexual assault. So whether I sexually assaulted Alex, whether I sexually assaulted or harassed anyone else, and so on. And all the 3 questions, I pass. All 3 of them. With all that, people still try to argue that I would be guilty. That doesn't make much sense. And yes, one of the questions was, did you ever hit Alex? And the other one was a fail. And the other one that was a fail was regarding the theft. Did you ever steal the photos? And that was a fail as well. But then the next question was, did you ever have the photos? And that was true. There was an error on the lie detector test, and I'm willing to do that again. So there's these 4 questions that I failed. I'm gonna do them again, and I'll prove it was just the error on the lie detector test because I'll likely pass all of them. So 85% of questions, or approximately about that percentage, I will pass. And the 15% that I don't, it should be the error of the polygraph. But if these 4 questions that I failed, or I've actually lied, then I should fail all of them again. But that won't happen. I'm likely going to pass all of them because I'm saying the truth. I will prove that. You don't need to take my word for it. And so that's about me taking the lie detector test. I passed everything. What was society's reaction when I did this test? So after I took it, the person analyzing the test, he liked to publish the results before he sent them to me. So first he posted it on the private group, and what was people's reaction? They focused on the 3 or 4 questions that I failed and ignored the other 28. Just half an hour later, I went into a train and 2 girls started doing Facebook live Facebook or something, and making fun of the fact of the stories that I failed, ignoring 28 questions that I passed. And most of these 28 questions are, again, 3 of the questions are about the sexual assault and violence crime, right? And I passed absolutely all of them. People ignore that. It doesn't get more ridiculous than that. And then I said everybody else will fail. Obviously, people won't take the lie detector test, any of them, because they lied, so they would get caught. So I had to do that myself. I started recording people because I took the layered voice analysis, I think it was called. And that test basically analyzes your speech and it detects lies. In a lab condition, it's very accurate. If the person who's analyzed has the behavior, the textbook behavior of someone who lies, so when they lie, it's exactly as it's written in the textbook, and it should be 100% accurate. But people don't. Some people react different to lying, so then that's why the lie detector tests are not perfectly accurate. But again, the proof of concept would be there. And then everybody that I asked, they either rejected confrontation because they knew that everything that I was going to ask them, will they incriminate them, and their reaction will incriminate them. So they rejected confrontation, or they denied everything. But while they were doing that, sometimes it was very obvious just from their voice. So then I have proof. But what the hell? But then I saw that their reaction, their faces, what they did, it incriminated them. It was obvious that they were lying. Like, even a little kid could tell you that they're lying. So then I went on to film people. And I went to, I couldn't even find strangers. So there's people who I met at work, for example, and I never seen them again because there's no way to reach them. But I did try to reach everybody that I could. And most of the people, almost all of them, showed classic signs of lying. It was all filmed. This is even better than a lie detector test because you don't have to trust the machine for doing the work. You actually have the proof and you can see it. And there's a book called The Dictionary of Body Language made by Joy Navarro. And so everything that's written there is confirmed by science and multiple experiments. So, and they show the classic signs of, among many other things, they show the classic signs of people who lie. And those exact signs are seen in the people that I film, right? So I film them, I ask the questions about what they lie, and they do these signs that strongly suggest that they lie, and they do it repeatedly over and over again. Most of the people have done that. And every time I publish, every time I post some of this proof, everybody rejects it illogically. It's a 1 hour video with my, not a 1 hour, it's a long video with my father. He was incriminating himself with literally everything that I accuse him of, over and over again. Some whole society denies it. This is on top of the fact that the things that he accused me of, I passed on the lie detector test. And the chances of that happening, if I would be lying, are what, less than 10%, so about 10%. But then he also incriminates himself, so he shows clear signs of lying over and over again regarding all of these topics when I ask him about it, right? So it doesn't 100% prove that he lied, but it's very close to 100%. With all that, people continue to deny it completely and pretend that I'll be guilty, and they like use other incriminating stories to try to justify that. But everybody else failed as well. It is absolutely ridiculous. Latest events. So what did I do? I went to Romania. I took the lie detector. I took this unofficial lie detector test with other people, and then I came back. I had a fight with my parents because of their extreme corruption, and then I eventually left. I'm not going to talk about that in detail, but that's what happened. And I went and I get a job, right? And remember my prediction? Everybody will lie everywhere I go. Oh, I gotta plan this. Right. So remember my predictions that everybody's going to lie everywhere I go. And this happened at university. Literally all my classmates lied. All. And I went at one point in the second year. I had a project group. Everybody in the project group lied. Then we all went together to and I recorded most of things. I started recording in February. It's about the time I started the project group. Everybody, was like a big project for the second year of university. Everybody in that project group lied multiple times. And then we went to this big company for a tour or something, and it lasted about 4 hours. And the people there, the workers, the employees of that company, who presented the tour, made up more false stories to incriminate me for crimes, right? And I recorded everything. And I asked people, tell me the exact time when that story was made. I'm the one who told me anything. They showed me signs that incriminating stories were made up, at least one, but probably more. And I figured it out. I said, okay, let's tell me exactly when, so I can pause the exact 2 minutes or 1 minute when the false story was made up. I can prove my innocence. They didn't do that. They don't want that. I can pause the entire video and the entire recording, and I probably will. But what will people do? They'll try to censor it, or they try to focus on some other parts of the video, or they try to reject it, just like they do with everything else. It's ridiculous. And it happens everywhere. It happens with mechanics, it happens with the dentists, it happens with police, it happens with everybody that I interact with. Everyone. At one point, what was it, with a scooter, right? I had a scooter, and people tried to make it seem like I would be this big danger on the road, despite never causing any. I didn't hurt anyone. There were no victims. There were no property damage. There's nothing. I drove like what 6,000 kilometers, 5,000 kilometers. Nothing happened ever. So what did they do? Police waited for me after work, and they followed me around town for like 1 kilometer, and then they stopped me for nothing, and they said, "You were going too slow," but I was not going too slow. The recommended speed was 30 an hour. I was going with exactly 30 an hour. I knew they were behind me. I seen that they followed me around. I thought, okay, that was weird, so I must not do anything wrong. I went with exactly 30 an hour, the recommended speed. They said, no, you were going too slow. And then I said, no, I was going with 30 an hour. And then the police say, oh yeah, but you were going with 40 and then with 30. What is this? It's weird, but that's not weird. So first, the speed limit was 50. I was going with like, what, 43, 44. And there was the sign with the recommended speed at 30. And I gradually went to 30. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It's absolute perfection. Is the way you're supposed to drive, and this can be proven because it was recorded. So the sound of the engine is recorded as well, so it can be proven what speed I was going with, and how I gradually went to 30, and then police stopped me for nothing. So they followed me for town and they stopped me for nothing in order to tell me about some law that I'm not supposed to drive with a foreign license or something. But yeah, I'm not talking about the actual law because they write about that, but I'm talking about the targeting, right? They waited for me after work, they followed me for town, they stopped me for nothing just so they can do that, right? And okay, there's many episodes with it. There are many episodes with police doing weird stuff, but the most important one is when they made up the death threats and among other stuff, and then they locked me up, right? These people should literally be in prison. Yeah. Okay. So then I went to Romania, did a lie detector test, and I came back. I went to work. Right? Again, remember my predictions? I said everywhere I go, everyone will make up false stories about me. But now I actually have proof because since February I recorded everybody. So before that, right, I had about 4 roommates. All of them made up multiple false stories. Many of them to incriminate me for crimes. I recorded everything. I don't know if I recorded everything, but I asked them about it. But and they all denied it. And the way they react incriminates them. But then I also have recordings proving that everything they said is false. Right? So four roommates in total, all of them lied. I went to the dentist once, twice. Every time they made up false stories. I went to mechanics. Every single mechanic that I talked to made up false stories. And if not all, then most of them. And it happened repeatedly, and I recorded. And the first one I didn't record, but then I started recording everybody, and I did. And people do this weird stuff. Right? I started recording. The day I decided to start recording, I went outside on the street. Less than 30 minutes, I hear some girl look at me and saying, "You're delusional." And I just start laughing, and just George your friend, and they all start laughing. Right? This happens every day. So the government locked me up, they tortured me, they wrongfully declared me insane, and instead of revolting, to get everything in a court of law, so these guilty criminals would go to prison, what does society do? They use the false stories the government made up, and they laugh at me about it. This causes infinite pain, but no one cares because that's society's entertainment. Okay, so back to my point. So I'm getting a job, right? The thing with a window washer, and first day I meet the boss and I meet my colleague, and from day one they made up false stories, multiple false stories. And day two, my colleague already did some weird things, making weird references, and be like, oh yeah, he said at one point, talking about someone. I said I made him crazy. I made him crazy in one day, right? But he was actually talking about what he posted on a private group. He posted multiple false stories that made no sense, and then he justified saying that, oh, Paul would be crazy because he would do and say this kind of stuff. But no, absolutely everything that he said is false, and I recorded everything. And then the boss lied as well. I'm 100% sure about that. And then a second colleague came, and I'm 100% sure that he lied as well. And again, from day one. And what did he do? They told me, I was doing my job well, right? And they literally told me, you're doing a great job. Most people don't learn that fast, right? I did nothing wrong. I didn't start a fight with anyone. I didn't do absolutely anything wrong. I did my job and I did it well. And they said that. So they had no reason to kick me out. What did they do? They stopped answering the phone. When they started my day, started with my colleague picking me up from the bus station. stop coming there. He didn't answer the phone. The boss didn't answer the phone either. It's complete radio silence. It's nothing because they had to get rid of me because I made up so many false stories in such a small amount of time. There's no way to justify it. They didn't want me there. So this is why they kicked me out. They couldn't say we kicked you out because you did this because I did nothing wrong. I was doing my job and I was doing it well. But again, I cannot have a professional or social life because everybody lies everywhere I go in. I have proof. I recorded these people, right? So the proof is out there. And it was the first job, right? So again, I cannot have a financial stability because people kick me out of jobs, even though I do my job well, right? This is what happened on the first job. And I cannot have a social life because everybody that I interact with lies. But now I record everything. I can prove this. Everybody at university lies. Everybody, strangers on the street lie without even interacting with me sometimes. And I can prove that. I went to dentist, the mechanic, the police, everywhere. Everybody lies. And I record everything and I can prove it. People of all sorts of all sorts of demographic background, everybody lies, absolutely everybody, and I have proof of that. When I said that, they said, "Oh, you must be crazy," but no, I have recordings, I can prove it. And the second job was with a bike courier, delivering different foods from different restaurants, right? And therefore, exactly from day one, the same thing happened. Everybody started lying. The other colleagues from the job started lying. The cashiers from the restaurants where they gave me the food started lying. The clients started lying. Everybody I interacted with started lying, right? And at one point, one that looks at me and says, "Do you understand what is going on?" Wink, wink. Yeah, I know. Everybody lies. Everybody I interact with lies. You're lying. Everybody else is lying. If I go out of the house, people are lying and cyberbullying me and they're laughing at my face. And when I get angry, they laugh even more. And this happens every single time, again and again and again. And at one point, okay, I can have it in my. I react normally. I'm being angry. I swear to people. And then when they see me angry, they say, "Ooh, why is he reacting like this? You must be crazy." No, you're committing crimes. This is defamation. You're meeting me. You sometimes don't even interact with me, and then you make up false stories about me. You present it in a global group, and you're trying to make money out of it or getting famous for whatever messed up reasons you have, and that's defamation. And it's done in a psychopathic manner, which justifies a maximum sentence for it, which is prison time. So these people become criminals, and then when I react the normal way that I should react to this sort of behavior, they say, "Oh no, now you're a danger. We don't like you. You have to go away." So, and that's what happened yesterday. They kicked me out because of that. Right? I reacted normally to society's reaction to society's behavior, and they said, "Oh no, you have to be kicked out." But in reality, most of them have to be. Some of them have to go to prison for their crimes, and according to the law, and others need to get some alternative sort of punishment, such as a fee, or I don't know exactly, but that is the point. They'll turn into criminals, and then when sometimes I just manage to stay calm. Somehow, I don't know how the hell I do that, but I manage to stay calm. It doesn't matter. You always, the moment that I stand up for myself, regardless of how I do it, they want to kick me out, they want to get rid of me. And when I react how I'm supposed to react, I should have reacted much far worse than that. Well, all I did was what I was spitting a lot, and I was swearing to people who were laughing in my face for right. That's what they do. They make up false stories and they laugh in my face. They show me how the people who make up false stories are being rewarded, and they laugh some more, and then they make me very angry. So then when I started swearing, right, they laugh even more. They really post in a group. They say, "Look, he's crazy. He's swearing. He's talking to himself or whatever." But it is a normal reaction to this torture. And my reaction should have been far worse, right? Uh, and the list of hypocrisies is infinite, right? I mean, like I said, with and the third job, the pizza delivery, and I'm still doing it, right? It's the exact same thing from day one. People lie from day one, and it keeps going. All sorts of weird stuff happens. And my last work day on the bike courier, right? So it's the other one, which is the dictator, right? It was the same thing. Everybody continued to make up false stories all day. My last day as a pizza delivery, the same thing. Everybody that I interacted with made up false stories all day. And at the end of the day, it's a completely false reality built up on tens of false stories. They're all made up in the same day by most people that I interacted with, and it happened every day for thousands of days, ever since 2017 when the deal was signed, the illegal deal was signed. And no one admits it. I mean, now I have proof because I record people, right? I've recorded people since February. I recorded 6 months of about 6 months of recordings, right? 6 months of daily recordings when I record everybody, and everybody lies everywhere. It's the exact same pattern of incriminating me and making me seem crazy or humiliating me or so on. Absolutely, everybody lies. Everybody gets rewarded for it. And the proof of concept, even when they're not, there are no recordings, the proof of concept is still there. this false story is contradicting everything that I ever said, everything that I ever stood for. The reaction of these people prove to some extent that they're guilty. They react like guilty people, and I react like an innocent person. And I want everything to go to court because I'm saying the truth. Everybody else doesn't want to go to court because they know that they're all guilty. And it just keeps going. And it doesn't stop. And if I go into the specifics, um, what was it? So I went to the lie detector test, right? And there's this guy, the footballer, right? He made up some false story that he said something about some girl's bottom, and everybody started cyberbullying me for it and treating me badly for it, right? That's what happened, and basically it's defamation, and and then he got rewarded for it, and the girl in his story got probably rewarded for it, and so everybody got rewarded for this false story, but except me. And I'm not saying that people should be rewarded for false stories. False stories shouldn't happen, but if you think about that, the people making up the false stories get rewarded, and the victim gets cyberbullied, and yeah. And then I took the lie detector test. I took the video, and it's extremely obvious that he incriminates himself. But what does society do? At least from the reaction that I've seen, at least initially, there was some other story that he made up when we were kids or something, and they focused to that, or they focused on other people who made up similar stories about the girls' bottoms. And again, the final conclusion was that he made up a story, right? I get cyberbullied. There's a lot of negative implications for me because of the story that he made up. And then when I prove the truth, nothing happens. So nothing happens to him, and people don't care that I said the truth. And they try to reject it, try all sorts of distractions just to move away from that. It's ridiculous. And there was the mother of my best friend, right? She made up a false story to incriminate me for the sexual assault and violence because her son made up some other story, and she just wanted to, to make it seem like it didn't matter if her son made up the story because I would be a bad person anyway. And that's what she did, and I proved the exact. I literally proved it. So first, I passed the lie detector test regarding the story that she made up, and then when I filmed her, right, she showed the classic signs of lying, just like the textbook describes it. The chances of those two things happening are extremely small. If I would be lying, it's like something like 1%. And with all that, people ignore it. People use that to try to argue that I would be crazy and to lock me up and to torture me. But now when I prove it, no one cares. They try to move away from me. They focus on other people who made up similar stories and say, "Oh no, it's not possible." The other people couldn't have lied, but they all lie. And then was the thing with the swim team, right? It was this girl from the swim team. We were friends when we were kids, right? And she made up multiple false stories. And again, I passed the polygraph regarding the stories that she made up, right? That's one thing. And when I filmed her, again, the classic science language regarding nearly everything that she made up, over and over again. It doesn't get more obvious. It's not only the reactions to the signs of lying, it's also her behavior in general and her reaction to everything. Everything incriminates her. She acts in the same way everybody else. And what happened when I posted? So what happened when I went there, right? So I went there. I took a video. I met with all the people that I met when I went to Romania this summer was for this to record them, to video record them, and to prove that they're lying. And I did that, and it worked much better than I expected. People incriminating themselves in extremely obvious matters, and this is one of them, right? And what happened afterwards? In the video for I don't know, for 5 seconds, for 10 seconds, something like that. So I used a camera which it was a hidden camera, right? So I couldn't hold it that well. So at one point the camera goes a bit down. It shows compressed, right? What does society do? And this is based on society's reaction, not what I say, right? So society decided, okay, we're gonna ignore the entire video in which this girl incriminates herself for her story that she made up in a psychopathic manner and had a lot of really negative implications for my life, right? And then they focused on those 10 seconds and they said, okay, ooh, breast, or what can we make up about that? And they focused on all the other stories, probably completely unrelated, that people made up regarding me about breast, and all of them are false. But still, they focused on that. They completely ignored the proof of my innocence. I proved that it was a lie. They focused on that, and I think that's what they made up at the first job that I took this summer with the window washer, right? So at least from people's reactions, I have no idea what they post on that private group, and I recorded everybody, so they know that I have no way of knowing what they made up. I only see the reactions of people. And there were a lot of reactions regarding this girl. So everything so this is one of the stories that they made up at that job about this girl. They probably made up multiple stories, right? But people ignored the little proof that she lied and the little proof that I'm saying the truth, and somehow distract themselves to other stuff, or ignore it completely, or focus on other people who made up similar stuff, just to ignore and reject the truth. It is ridiculous. Um, the other thing was, I think right after that, right, I left for like 10 minutes. You could see it on my face. I was really sad, right? Maybe I even had watery eyes. I was really sad about that, right? After I met with this girl and recorded her. What did people saw that I was in a minibus, I think. So how did people react to that? They say, oh, he must miss her, right? And if he misses her, it means that her stories are true. That makes no sense. Common sense is not used in the way it's supposed to. But what do people do? They consolidate the idea that if I would like her, then her stories would be true. Despite the fact that I passed the polygraph regarding her stories, the lie detector test, and she failed the lie detector test, right? She showed all the classic signs of lying, exactly like it said in the textbook. People ignored all that, and then they said, okay, we must consolidate the idea that he likes her, so that her stories will be true, so that I will be guilty, so that society will not feel bad for their crimes. This is exactly what they do. What they did for the next few weeks. I think, and on this on based on society's reactions, society made up stories to suggest that I liked her, but I did nothing. I went there, I took the lie detector test. I was sad for like 10 minutes, and I never made any references directly or indirectly to her at all. Not anyone. The next time that I mentioned her was when I posted the results of this lie detector test, when I posted the film, and yeah, there was actual proof. And again, so they completely denied that, and they focused on other irrelevant stuff. They completely rejected the little proof. And then, after that, anyway, any references again, any references at all to her or about her, anything related to her, nothing. The society lives in a completely detached from reality world, where false story is built on top of false story on top of false story, and they get a completely false reality at the end of the day, and this happens daily, and it results into one of the greatest mass psychosis in history. This is one topic, but there are hundreds of topics, and all of them work the exact same way. It literally doesn't stop there. So, what was it with this job with a bike courier, right? I don't know exactly what he made up, right? Maybe people react. I can see the change in behavior of people, uh, and at the end it was obvious that most people made up stuff. And this one dude, and he said he came to me and said, "Did you want a milkshake?" Right? Right. So I was angry because everybody lied, and then he asked me this odd thing, and I don't know what that means, but I assume that that has to do something with whatever he made up, and it's somehow related one way or another. And after about 2 minutes, when I said everybody lies, he comes outside and he says this, and I recorded this. He says, "Oh yeah, this guy lied as well, right?" So in the end, he admitted that he lied, and he probably lied about multiple stories, not just one, because this is what people do. They don't stop in one story; they make up multiple stuff. And then he said, this guy lied as well. And the other guy, which he pointed, I've seen only once on my first day. And this is what he did. The cashier said something in Dutch, and I didn't understand. I wasn't even paying attention. And he says, okay, look, your order is ready. So I go take the order, I go deliver it, and I get to the client, and the client says, it's only half of the order. So then I get back. Obviously, someone lied. Either the cashier said that the order was ready and it was not ready. Either this guy said that the order is ready. That he said that this is what the cashier said, that the order is ready, and instead the order was not ready. One of them lied, and that was my first day. And these people I never talked to before, so they had no reason to lie, but they still did it. And this doesn't happen in normal context. But it happened the day, and it was on purpose. Um, that was the only time I talked to this guy. When he said, "Okay, your order is ready." I think it's that guy. Because I'm not sure. I've seen him once or a couple of times, but I think it's the same guy. And okay, and then back to my last day when I got kicked out. So this guy with whatever he made up, he pointed to this other dude and says he made up false stories as well. And the reaction of it was like, shut up, right? And and that proves it. They both made up stories, and that guy, I never talked to him. It's enough for people to be in the same place with me, for them to make up false stories. I didn't even need to interact with me, and I recorded everything from this job, from clients to cashiers to other colleagues. Everything is recorded, and I have proof. And I'm gonna post everything. It's not gonna be a nice recording because people don't tell me the exact times when the false stories were made up. So I can only post the 1 minute or two relevant minutes. I have to post everything, and people will try all sorts of distractions and focus on other stuff. But at the end of the day, the proof is there. The proof is there that when people said that I did or say something, nothing actually happened. And this is it. People turn into criminals. They defame me, and then they keep me out for it, and they treat me like trash. And when I react accordingly, um, they said, "Oh, look, he's angry. He will probably beat up someone or something, or he will do something bad, right?" But no, this is a normal reaction. This is an underreaction. I should have reacted far worse, but I didn't. My self control is really good, regardless of the fact that people try to the complete otherwise, complete opposite. It was the same with my father. My father made up false stories about me. He made up false stories to incriminate me after he destroyed the proof of my innocence and he showed me the middle finger and laughed. Right? I didn't kick him. I didn't hit him. I didn't threaten him. I did nothing. All I did was scream in infinite frustration that I want the illegal deal to be nullified because I can prove everything in court. What did the government do? Then the police came and made up false death threats in order to lock me up. And then the government made up more false stories that I wanted to hurt myself or hurt others. And it was one story with excrements thrown on the wall. They made up something like that to justify that I'm crazy and then to lock me up and torture me to silence me while I can prove everything in court. These people must be in prison for decades. But what does society do? Like I said, I have proof of this. 30 minutes after I started recording everyone, people call me delusional on the street and laugh. I see people on the street, they do this every single day. This is absolute torture. I don't want to go out of the house because I know that people will make up false stories and they will laugh at me and they will cyberbully me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go anywhere because this is what's going to happen. 100% it's happened every single day since 2017 and it doesn't stop. They can prove everything in court. Hundreds of people must literally be in prison according to the law, but it doesn't happen. It is ridiculous. And the other job, the one that I'm doing now with the pizza, on the first day, one guy presented me the scooter that I deliver pizza with, and he said, so the scooter has two lights, one for the day and one for the night, and he said, the night light, you don't need to use it at all. It's only when the street is completely dark and there are no lights on the street, then you use it, otherwise you don't use it. That is a lie. I had a scooter myself. I checked to see if the lights are similar and they're the same. So I didn't check the law now, but I did it when I hit my own scooter, and the law is pretty clear. During the night, you have to use the night light. So what would have happened if I would have listened to that guy's advice? I'd have gone through the night and do deliveries without the night light, and the police would have stopped me, would have caused problems. I would have likely quitted the job, and that's what they wanted. So like that guy made up something, and then he let me go. And it was from day one. It was like 20 minutes after I joined the restaurant. It keeps going. It was and then the source of payments that you go and deliver the pizza and they have to pay to you, right? And they give you the cash and you bring it back and put it in the register. In 2 days, which I had multiple orders like this, when I had received money and I had put it in a register, there was a gap at the end of the day. There's money missing. But I know I did nothing wrong. I know I always got the money right? I got it and I put it in a register. I gave it to someone to put it in a register, right? I did my job well, but there was money missing. And then the second day, I don't know for 2 days in a row, but very soon afterwards, it happened again. And the first time was something like 20 years. The second time was 50 years or 40 years. I don't remember exactly, but there was some money missing. And if this would have happened regularly, the boss would have investigated and solved it. No, it happened when I was there. And I think my last shift, I got no orders like that. I didn't have to get any money from customers. And at the end of the day, there was no money missing. What does this suggest? This suggests that I'm taking money, right? I'm forgetting to ask clients to pay. This sort of stuff, right? So it suggests that I'm not doing my job well. And then that is what happened in the past. There was the Asian restaurant where on the first few days I did something wrong with the payment. The money was correct, but the way I registered the payment in the system was wrong. And it said, don't do that again. You always have to do it like this. It's very important. And I remember that. He said it's very important. I remember I never did it wrong again. But when they kicked me out, they kicked me out 100% because they made up false stories about me. They didn't want me there. And they used this as an excuse. They said, oh, look, you made the payments wrong. But I know I never did it wrong. I said, oh, you look at the camera. There's a camera. You can see it. I always press the right buttons. No. And there's another thing. Okay, there's a lot of stuff about that as well. But back to the current job, right? So that's another thing. What does this suggest? It suggests that either I'm taking money out of the registry, or that I'm taking money from clients and don't put it in the registry, or that I'm forgetting to ask clients to pay. But none of these things happen. The thing with taking money out of the registers is impossible because there's cameras. There are cameras, so they can see that I didn't do that. The thing with the clients is also unlikely because yeah, then there should be a client on the other side saying, okay, he didn't ask me to pay, but that never happened. So the most likely scenario is someone is trying to build up this image that I'll be taking money from customers and then we're putting the registry, which is basically stealing. But I never done that. This could be anyone because I'm registered there with a name and I put an order on my name, but sometimes other people do orders on my name as well. So maybe they're doing that. Maybe I don't know who's doing that. This is what this suggests. No one accuse me of anything, but this is how it looks like. And generally, I see this kind of stuff. I see this everywhere. And if people change their behavior, I can see it, and I can see the change of their behavior. I know that false stories were made up. Like a lot of jobs, people made up false stories from day one. I don't know exact stories, but I can see that they made up stories. For the one with the bike career, I know that right before I left, there's something with ice cream. And there was a guy in high school who made up a false story about ice cream and something. And he made it a sexual story about me making making disrespectful comments about a girl's bottom. And what happened afterwards is very important. The guy who made that story up, and who likely also planned my framing sexual assault and violence, he got rewarded for it. And out of nowhere, he's no one. He shown this psychopathic behavior, and he was rewarded with fame and money, and whatever he's doing now, he's rapping or acting, it doesn't matter. He was rewarded for it. And what happened afterwards? 20, 30 people, maybe more, who all made up similar stories about me making comments about girls' bottoms or breasts or whatever. Absolutely all of them false. There's not one story which is true. The most that happened is someone saying, okay, yeah, someone else making a comment about a girl's bottom, and you're saying, yeah, man, sure, she got a nice bottom. But that's the most that could have happened. Everyone lied. And this much psychosis. Now it's common knowledge that I regularly make this sort of comments. Almost everywhere I go, there's someone making up this kind of stories. The difference is that now I record everybody, and I have proof that all these people are lying. It keeps happening where people don't care that they record it because they know that they are rewarded for it. For them, it's beneficial, and they keep doing it. So that's one of the stories that was likely made up when I was delivering with a bike. There are probably more, many other stories. Now, it doesn't stop. And then what was it, my last day at that I worked with the pizza delivery that I still work there. Right before it was very angry about one of the stories with the street girls, right? Many people made up stories about that, and some of them were rewarded for it. And I said because again that's defamation, right? So there's a story involving three girls that was made up in high school. Multiple people said that I wanted to date multiple girls at the same time. They made that look very negative, but the entire story is false, and all its aspects are also false. And then people made up similar stories or stories to support that. And this kept happening regularly, just like with the comments on the girls' bottoms. Regarding this story, there are probably tens of people who made up stories to support it, and absolutely all of them lied. And I can prove that, right? Again, everything was recorded. The latest people who do that, they have been recorded. It can be proven that everybody lies in the same pattern. Um, and during that entire day, society tries to deny this, so to deny that the story will be false, and they continue to make up more false stories about other topics or the same topics, and try to incriminate me and humiliate me in other matters. And one point, this is just one observation that I've seen since I started the work as a pizza delivery now. I've never gotten an order with. I got probably one or two orders with wine, right? With wine bottles. In what 3 or 4 days, and then on the last day, I got 5 or 6 wine bottles in the same day. It is the kind of thing that people do. People adjust their behavior in order to give me signs and elements of the stories that are made up and the topics that are trending on the private global group behind my back. This is what's happening. So. This is just what I've seen. So, like, someone made up a false story support stories that involve wine, and then there is it. This is just one example. And this sort of thing happens every day. There's so many other things. Last winter, and I know this, right? This is ridiculous, and it cannot be proven wrong with recordings. There was at one point I noticed the number of old ladies ordering pizza doubled, or even more than doubled. So it's something ridiculous. I noticed another thing. Out of nowhere, this lady started wearing shoes or socks, right? And what the hell is that, right? It's odd. It's an odd change, and it's easy to observe it, right? It's just it's weird. Why is that happening? And as I started thinking about it, there's a story about me doing some weird stuff to some girl's feed. And the story is completely logical and false, and I can prove that. People don't care. People say, okay, how can we link stories together so in the end we get a result on Twitch? We can cyberbully Paul and then pretend that she would be guilty of crimes and that she would deserve it. This was one of them. Probably some old lady said it, and I looked at her feet or her legs or something, and then she got rewarded for it, and it's very important, right? She made up something, she defamed me, and she got rewarded for it, just like everybody else. And then other old ladies said, "Oh, that's a great idea. Let's all get famous, right?" So then you get 20, 30 people, 40 old ladies, 50 old ladies, doesn't matter how many, and they're all making up similar stuff, and it becomes common knowledge. Or do these sort of things, and it is humiliating, and it is disgusting, and it is false. The most important thing, it is false. It is defamation. And these people get ready for committing crimes, right? And 100% guaranteed this is what happened. And it's no way for me to know what is being posted on the group, but I can see people's reactions. I can see that. At one point, there's also a quite old lady thing. She didn't answer the door, so I called the restaurant. I said, there's someone here that doesn't answer." And they called, and she came downstairs. She opened the door. Her body was behind the door, so I couldn't see it. It looked like she was naked, like she came out of the shower or something. But again, I didn't see her body. I only see her head. And I say, "Okay, hello. Here's the pizza." And so I held the pizza from my end of the pizza box, and she grabbed it from the other hand, and then she took it and closed the door. There's nothing happened. I made no comments, and I have a recording to prove that. Actually, I'm not sure if I was recording at that time, but yeah. Either way, so I gave her a pizza box. She took it. She closed the door. And then later that day, I hear sort of weird comments from my colleagues, but about this episode, with what likely happened, and what I found out afterwards, days later, right, based on people's reactions, that she said that I touched her underwear or something, right, and then very likely what happened, I went back to a restaurant where the people there who most of them, I think all of them, made up multiple false stories each. They made up more false stories to support this false story. And then when I was on my way home, there's this other guy from the restaurant, and he said, "Yo, look, in 5 minutes, something really bad is gonna happen. It's gonna rain or something, or I don't know, something really bad is gonna happen in 5 minutes." And approximately exactly 5 minutes, police stops me out of nowhere and they're angry. Why? I don't know. They want to do a checkup, a random checkup. But again, why did they do that? The guy predicted that. He knew that police were going to wait there because he said in 5 minutes something bad is going to happen. Police stopped me in 5 minutes. He knew it was going to happen because of the mass psychosis that was going on behind my back with a private group, where multiple people made up false stories that I harassed someone sexually. And it is false. Again, I took the lie detector test later on. There was three questions in a row, which asked if I sexually assaulted, raped, or harassed anyone in a sexual manner. And I passed absolutely all of them. It is ridiculous. I don't do this kind of stuff. This is complete defamation. It has to be punished because people, it's not punished. It's rewarded. So people do it again because it's rewarded. People who are doing that should be in prison. But it keeps happening. Again, everybody that meet conspiracy with me, everywhere I go, it turns into a conspiracy. It doesn't stop. It is the same in university. I cannot go finish university because they're group projects. In group projects, I have to work with people, and from day one, everybody makes up false stories about me. And they want me gone. And then they start conspiring against me, and it turns into something it's a sort of conspiracy that literally never happens in a normal context. And it's everywhere. It's at my university, at my job, and everywhere I go. And it just made at one point, so there was this thing with the mechanics making up false stories, and then someone made up, I think my father made up a false story saying that, "Oh, I said the mechanics don't speak English, they must be stupid or something," right? But I didn't say that. He said it, or someone else said it. I don't know who said it, but I didn't say this kind of stuff. And then mechanics decided, "Oh, He insulted us. So must make up false stories to incriminate him, and not just that. They took my scooter. They didn't repair it. I think they changed some stuff inside in order to make it worse. And I didn't. And I took it another mechanic. The mechanic did something. My engine stopped half an hour later, and 2 weeks later the engine was broken. And everybody makes up stuff about me. All mechanics I talked to, I talked to so many mechanics, all of them made up stuff about me. No one wanted to help me repair the scooter. Uh, Even if it was something very small, very likely it would have been repaired in half an hour. It cost less than 50 euros. One guy tells me, "Oh, it cost me 1,500 euros. I have to change the entire engine. Or if not, if you don't want that, then you can sell me the scooter for 50 euros. 50, that's 50. That's nothing. This is ridiculous." And, and I bet that during all this time, they made up other false stories. Everybody does. I go to the dentist. They make up false stories. I go to mechanics. I talk to the police. I talk to. It doesn't matter. Demographics don't matter. I mean, from little kids to all the adults to people who again everybody. It doesn't matter who. Everybody continues to make up false stories on and on and on. It becomes a normality. People make up stories in a psychopathic manner. Then they get rewarded for it, and they laugh at my pain. And it keeps going on every single day. And people see it as entertainment. This never happened. When did this ever happen? It didn't happen. In the entire modern history of the European Union, for example, this literally never happened. You're not going to see people beat up someone and then get rewarded for it, and then everybody laughing at people who got beat up. Because the person who beats up someone commits a crime. He's going to pay for the crime. But in this context, again, I mentioned this in my last video, people commit crimes and then they laugh and they get rewarded for it, and they laugh at my pain. When I say, look, they're criminals, they must be in prison, no, they laugh. They can do it again if I stand up for myself and they want to get rid of me. And they want me locked up, they want me gone, they want me dead, so I can prove the truth. But people say every time I post on social media saying I'm innocent, give me my human rights. I didn't say believe me. I said give my human rights so everything can go to court, because then I can prove everything. They said no. I received hundreds of comments saying kill yourself, or start a fight with someone so they can kill you, or I can't wait for them to lock you up. Because then you cannot share the truth, right? If you're locked up, and that's what the government did before. They locked me up, they tortured me to silence me. And they're not in prison. Tens of government workers who should be in prison for many years, and they're all not only free, but they continue to get to continue to do their job. And very likely society rewarded them for their absolute horrifying crimes, and no one admits anything. But I can prove everything in court. And it doesn't stop. I remember that Asian restaurant I talked about a couple minutes ago. There from day one. This is the kind of environment where I have to talk to people continuously. I have to talk to clients all day. I have to talk to my colleagues all day. I have to be there. I have to talk to people, and that's why there they made up stories of likely at a rate higher than in other places. Because when I'm delivering, half of my time all day, half of my time I'm spending on the scooter. I cannot talk to people, but there I have to talk to people continuously, and it turned into the greatest possible mass psychosis, just like all the other places that I've been before and all the other places that I've been afterwards. Literally every day, from clients to colleagues to everybody. Everybody made up false stories, and they were laughing, and they were making references to other people who committed crimes against me and made up false stories. And they said, "Look, they're all famous now because we made them famous because they destroyed your life." And then they kept laughing and bursting into laughter. I was literally taking stuff and putting it on the table, right? And then people look at me and burst into laughter. And that's 100% caused by the mass psychosis and the false stories that were made up. And again, they conspired against me. At one point, an entire table of like 20 people said that I gave them the wrong menu or something. And everybody saw that I was not the person who did that, but they all said that I did. And again, I said, look on the cameras. I haven't done that. No one cared. And the common knowledge is that obviously 20 people said I did something, and I'm the only one who says I didn't. Common knowledge is to believe the 20 people, but I say, look on the cameras, I never done that. And it can be proven. And it's the same with everything. On my last day, they were trying to convince me, come on, you can find another job, maybe this is not right for you, right? But why were you doing that? Because they wanted to get rid of me, because everybody made up false stories daily. And then the manager, he came me in the office and said, okay, you're doing a horrible job. After just half an hour earlier, he said you're doing an okay job, you're doing good, but maybe this restaurant is not suited for you. But what did he say that? He said that because everybody made up false stories, everybody was desperate to get rid of me because everybody made up false stories with emphasis on incriminating me for crimes. They're criminals who should be in prison. The entire restaurant should literally be in prison according to the law. And so he get me in the office and said, you made a payment wrong. I said, no, you can look at the camera. He said you're walking too slow. This is not true. Most of my days I worked faster than almost everybody else there. But on my last day, the other colleague was also Romanian, one of the guys. Everybody made a fast story about me. He did as well, and he was suddenly walking 2 times faster than usual. But I was walking normally, and he said, "Look, he was walking faster than you." But he was walking faster than me only on that day. On all the other days, I walked at least as fast as him or faster. And he said, "No, you're working too fast." And I said, "Look on the cameras, check all the video footage of all the other days. This is fast. I can prove it." He said, "No, no, no, you're doing mistakes." And yeah, like everybody, do make some mistakes from time to time. I bring the food to the wrong table, or maybe I dropped some drinks a couple of times. But yeah, I did not do that that more often than other people. If I was kicked out because of my bad performance, more than half of that restaurant, the employees of that restaurant should have been kicked out as well. More than half, 100%. There's no debate about that. The video footage can prove this. And I spent about 10 minutes there explaining to the guy that what he says makes no sense, that I can prove it from using the video footage. And then he says, "Okay, you gotta prove it. You gotta prove that you're doing a good job. So come again next week for one day to test your ability or something." Right? And then I said, "Yeah, fine." For me, it was no problem because I knew that I was doing a good job, so there was no problem. And then I left. I went to the reception of the hotel to watch a match, right? And then people there started laughing at me, and they laughed, and they give me signs of what this dude made up in the office. And apparently, what he said, according to reactions of people, was that I started crying and becoming very emotional, and then was saying, "I know I must keep my job," because and doing some sort of an emotional breakdown, right? And and I think the reasoning is he said, "Okay, you're gonna be able to try to prove yourself," and he could have said that just because in order for me to not make a mess, not starting destroying stuff or whatever, right? And yeah, 100% guarantee that everything that he said is false. But it doesn't matter. Then what I did made me very, very angry. So the first thing that people reacted was the thing with the crying, right? So when people say then it's a normal thing, right? When people say to a man, "Oh, you cried or something," it makes you angry if you didn't do it, right? Because then that's humiliating, and I got angry. So I started sending messages. I went there. I literally talked to the guy in a recording. I asked him. Yeah, some people told me that you tell people that I was having an emotional breakdown. I was crying. I was doing weird stuff, and he said no. You logically explained everything. Yeah, I was there. Yeah, that's what he said to my face, and that's exactly what I said about myself, what I did. But not only so, here's the thing: everybody that I talked to, they denied everything, and it doesn't make any sense. Well, why would you deny it? And then I just want to talk to other people. There's this girl with curly hair, right? And so did you ever do anything odd or weird? And her facial expression. This is when I realized that I have to start filming people because her facial expression incriminating her 100%, and her voice is her voice completely cracked when she tries to answer and say no. Again, absolutely everybody lies. Everybody lies about everything. What did people do afterwards? So this guy, the Indian dude who took me to the office, before that, right, he made many other false stories, many, and some of them probably incriminate me for the crimes. So if people decide that his latest story, the one there which I was having an emotional breakdown and crying and stuff, right? If that would be true, people reason that everything else that he made up would be true, and everything else that everybody else made up would be true. So they started making up false stories saying that I would be crying. So then out of nowhere, I get reactions saying people laughing at me for supposedly crying when nothing happened. So again, so out of what since 2017 until now, I've probably cried in probably like 2 times. And it was not an actual breakdown or actual crying where you just lay down. No, it was just I got watery eyes. And it was twice. It was once in Romania, and I don't know, it was 2018, 2019. I don't remember exactly when. I was on a bus. I was going back home, and the second time was in Romania last summer. And I was on a minibus, and that was 2 times. And the other time that I cried, I was in my house. No one saw me, right? And this is the thing. People, why do people do this? Because people want to incriminate it. So if they say, okay, if we can consolidate the idea that Paul is crime, we somehow illogically say that he would be guilty, or we cyberbully him for humiliate him, and then we have to consolidate that he would be guilty to justify the cyberbullying. This is what happens with everything. It can go on and on and on. I mean, absolutely every topic, and it's this false story, bullying false story. It's the same with the things that I mentioned with all the ladies and me supposedly looking at their legs or at their feet or stuff. What am I supposed to do? Tomorrow, today, I will go deliver pizza, and more ladies will say that I'm looking at their legs or that I'm touching them. But and then I cannot necessarily prove that wrong with the recording. I can prove that I didn't touch them, because if I would touch them, then they would have to react to that and say, hey, yo, what you doing, right? So then that'll be heard on the recording. And since they don't do that, I can prove that I didn't harass anyone. But these people are just looking, right? There's no way for me to prove it. What am I supposed to do? I hold a selfie stick at all times when I go out of the house to prove that I'm not looking at old ladies. This is the greatest hypocrisy in history. What am I supposed to do? Every week or every 2 weeks, people say that I'm crying for some reason. And it literally never happened. What am I supposed to do? Walk with a selfie stick and prove that I'm not crying? No, because everything that people do is to incriminate me or to humiliate me or to cyberbully me. And it just keeps going. As one person makes up a story, and then another person, completely unrelated person, makes up another false story to support the first false story, and then it keeps going until you get 30 people, completely different people, making up the same story, supporting the same false story. And when I say that I'm innocent, they say, "Oh no, it's not possible. You must be crazy." But now, compared to before, I have recordings proving that people actually do that. And it keeps going. People don't care that I record everything. People don't care that I can prove everything. People keep doing it. People keep rejecting all the possible proof that I provide. And what do? They continue to humiliate me, to cyberbully me. I go out of the house, and this is what one thing that happened before in the past. They cropped they took my image, right, a photo of me. They cropped my head and they put it on a dog or other animals, whatever other stuff to humiliate me. And they made videos with that, right? And videos and pictures, all sort of humiliating stuff. And you got common knowledge that I'm not human, right? I'm some sort of subhuman creatures with no human rights, whose only existence, whose only, the only reason I exist is for people to humiliate me and to dehumanize me and to cyberbully me in order for them to get rewarded. It's like a tool, all moral values don't count when it's about me, right? I have to be completely destroyed in order for people to be rewarded for doing it. This is what happens, and what happened from day one, right? And then I see this all the time. People are walking the dogs, and they look at me, they're completely normal. And the moment they make eye contact with me, they burst into laughter. But they make this weird smirk, like they're about to burst into laughter. It's weird, it's odd. I've never seen this before in my life, and it's close 100%. But this must be whatever is going on behind my back in a private group. I 100% guarantee you that there is something regarding me. They're pretending that I'll be a dog, or taking my face and putting it on a dog's body in order to make fun of me. I 100% guarantee you that this happened multiple times, because this is how people react. And every single day I see people walking on the street, and from time to time the people look at me, and the moment they look at me, they burst into laughter. And their reaction 100% mirrors what happens on behind my back on the private group. But everybody makes up false stories daily, and they cyberbully me, and they pretend that I'll be guilty of crimes in order to justify that I will be a bad person who deserve that. And if you understand that all these people are showing psychopathic behavior, all the people who are making up false stories are committing a crime of defamation, and doing it in a psychopathic manner, which justifies the maximum sentence, which is prison time. At least here in the Netherlands, that is prison time. And then the people who make up false stories to incriminate me, that's even worse. It's not just defamation, it's false accusations of the crimes of a person who was not yet tried. Nothing went to court, but you're making up false stories to incriminate me. And I can prove in court that I'm innocent. I can prove that hundreds of people made up stories to incriminate an innocent person. It's far worse than defamation. That's likely more years in prison. It's significantly longer time in prison. And people are committing this crime, they don't care. The moment they see inside, they make up false stories. It is, I don't want to go out of the house. I don't want to go to work. I know that just like any other day, I'll go to work. Everybody will make up false stories about me, from colleagues to clients, to everybody. Everybody they meet, everybody they interact with. I don't want to go to the supermarket. I know they're going to make up false stories about me. It happened before, it's still going to happen. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go out of my house, because everybody makes up false stories. It is torture, and then they laugh at me. And last time, so it was yesterday. So there was only one black dude that I interacted with, right? And it's this guy who made up false stories to incriminate me for sexual assault and violence, and that happened in the context in which I stated daily for such a long time that I'm innocent, and specifically about the stories that he made up. And out of nowhere, he comes and makes up a false story while I am saying that I'm innocent. He makes up a false story to incriminate me. And what society's reaction, the only normal reaction based on common sense, would be to completely reject his story, and to marginalize him for being a horrible human being, for showing psychopathic behavior. But that's not what happened. What happened is people started rewarding him for doing that, and they started cyberbullying for me and pretending that I'd be guilty. But I was saying that I'm innocent before he made up the story, during the time that he made up the story, and afterwards as well. And when I do that, I went and passed the polygraph, and all these false stories that incriminated me, all of them. I passed the polygraph. That's the lie detector test. It's a 90% chance that I would have failed if I would be lying. But I wasn't lying. I passed it. This proves it. And then when I went to talk to him to incriminate him, just like everybody else, he completely rejected it. He didn't want to because he knew that every interaction with me on that topic would incriminate him because his story didn't make any sense. And people showed me, and I just, yeah, I came from bicycle and I got in the center of the town, and then there's a black dude who out of nowhere started doing like he's in a rap video or something. It makes no sense. And I guarantee this based on what is happening behind my back in a private group. That guy probably started doing some rap videos and he got attention for it. Yeah, this is the main idea. And so people are rewarded for crimes and for psychopathic behavior. This is not the only one. Everybody's doing it. Everybody, everywhere I go. Again, I went to university, what, 30 people in my class, all of them made up false stories. Even teachers made up false stories about me. I went to the company. The employees of the company who were supposed to give us a tool made up false stories to incriminate me for a crime. That's defamation that it deserves, and it's 100% justified for them to go to prison for that. And I'm recording everything I can prove it. It's ridiculous. People do this, people commit crimes, and they laugh at my infinite pain, and then they get rewarded for it. This shouldn't happen. This is torture. This is more than just human rights abuse. Silence is literally a crime. Again, I talked about the deal. The deal is illegal. Besides the fact that it legalizes crimes, the fact that I would be mentally ill, I was never mentally ill. I can prove that. I have the recordings to prove that. This is outrageous. And again, what am I going to do now? I can't quit the other job as well. I can't do that. If I'm going to get a job and behave as I should behave in the context in which everybody makes up false stories about me, I'd get kicked out in a couple of minutes. Right? I cannot do that. What happens afterwards? I have no money. I need money. I need a roof over my head. I need food. I need money to take the lie detector test again. So for the questions that I failed, in order to prove that there was the error of the lie detector test and that I'm actually saying the truth, I need money for all that. Because hundreds of viewers will do that. And I need besides that, I need time, right? I cannot work all day because I need time to present the rest of my proof. If I work 5 days a week, it's very little time for me to present my proof. So I work 4 days a week, right? But then I go to work 4 days a week, 8-9 hours per day. Everybody makes up false stories about me. It doesn't even matter that I'm providing more proof because people don't care about proof. I can provide the recordings. Everybody's like, no one cares. People will continue to be rewarded for making up false stories about me, and the people who already made up false stories will keep getting rewarded and keep getting blood money for it. But all of them should be in prison. And this is an atrocity, and there's no way out. I don't want to go out of my home. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go anywhere because this is torture. It literally feels like vomiting just thinking about going outside the house because I know the moment I step outside, people will continue to do the exact same thing. They would laugh at me, they would cyberbully me, they would make up more false stories about me, they would give me signs of how all the people, most of the people who have done that have been rewarded with fame and money. And they'll say, look, they're worldwide now, right? And they're role models. We're copying them. We're copying their style, the way they dress, the way they are, the way everything. And we're copying them, and we're liking them. They are all heroes, right? They're absolute criminals. They should be in prison. They committed their crimes in a psychopathic manner, and they laughed about it. And all their crimes are against me, right? And they show this to me, and they laugh at me. And when I get extremely angry, they laugh even more. And then they say, look, he's angry, he's swearing, he must be a danger to society. Or look, he's sad, he must be killing himself, or he must be crying. So, right? And they make up all these false stories, and they post it, and they cyberbully me even more. And it doesn't make sense. Society twists common sense to the point where it becomes psychotic because absolutely everything is false, and I can prove all of it. But again, I don't want to go outside the house. I don't want to. It feels like vomiting to speak about going outside the house. And I know what's going to happen. The torture is going to continue. This is literal atrocity. It must stop. And again, don't twist my words. The private group must not be cancelled. Just people must stop posting anything about me completely, and the deal must be nullified. Everything must go to court, and after I prove everything in court, and then it's presented on the private group, so all the people who defend me will see the actual truth. Right? Only then, the private group can be cancelled, can be deleted, can be shut down. This is an atrocity. There's no way out. What am I going to do? Because I must work to have money to support myself. The only other alternative is to go live with my parents, who are literally criminals who should be in prison for decades, and they will continue to conspire against me. They'll continue to do stuff so bad that I would actually prefer society making up stuff about me than them making up stuff about me because they'll you gotta do some really really bad stuff like I did in the past. You know, I can take that. There's no way out. There's nowhere for me to go. When I step outside of the house, people make up false stories about me. I cannot keep a job because everybody lies about me, and I have to suppress all my all these outrageous these emotions caused by extreme torture. I have to suppress them because if I react the way that I should, a normal person reacts to this torture, I get kicked out, I get locked up, I get wrongfully declared insane and tortured. This is outrageous. I'm basically forced to accept people's extreme inhumane torture, and there's no way out because everybody does it. It doesn't matter where I go. I'm in the Netherlands, I go to Romania, I go somewhere else, I do European Union, I go to the United States, it doesn't matter. Everybody who has access to Facebook will do this. There's no way out. I don't want to go out of the house. I don't want to. My boss just messaged me that he needs someone else extra for work today. I don't want to go. I want to go because I need the money, but I don't want to go because I know everybody's gonna make up stuff about me. I don't. It feels like vomiting just getting out of the house. I don't want to do that. This is torture. This is inhumane. This is worse than prison would actually be. This is the worst case scenario. Is a corrupt judge sending me to prison. It'll still be better than this. 100%. There's no doubt about it. But it's not gonna happen because okay, there's another thing. The court trial is gonna take place. It's gonna be public. It's gonna be displayed either on TV or on social media. It doesn't matter. It has to be displayed because then the corruption of the government will be diminished. It can be that biased if everybody is watching, right? When a closed trial, they can twist the law and everything and gonna get put in prison. That's what happened last time. They made up false stories to wrongfully declare me insane, right? And that's exactly what he did. And all my arguments could not be heard by other people the way they could. And if I put everything in perspective and I show my proof, they will go to prison for trying to do that. But I can prove everything right now, but I need a fair trial. Everything has to go to court. Obviously, I don't trust the same government who tortured me to silence me. I don't trust society who makes up false stories about me all the time. But I trust evidence that remains. So if the court will be public and filmed, video and taped, it will stay there forever. And if someone is corrupt, it will be there. And maybe not the first generation, second generation, but when people who are not directly involved will see it, it will be 100% obvious that I'm saying the truth. And it will stay there. It will remain in history. And this is the greatest hypocrisy in history, and it already does. Because I already started providing proof, and people already started rejecting it and illogically censoring it. At this point, again, I repeat this, it's very important at this point, I have enough proof, enough evidence to prove that I'm not guilty about either of the two crimes. And that's enough. That's enough for a beginning. That's all I need to prove in the beginning that I'm not guilty. That means I don't go to prison, and that means that I have access to a private group. And it means that people will stop making up false stories because I'll be able to see it and sue them for it. So then then I'll be able to work normally. I'll be able to continue to present the rest of my proof properly, and all the way until hundreds of people will go to prison. Maybe even the people who frame me, regardless of the fact that my father destroyed the proof of my innocence. There's still a good chance that the people who frame me will go to prison. That depends on how it all plays out, but there's a good chance that will happen. But for the moment, I don't need that to happen. All I need to happen is for the deal to be nullified and for it to go to court in order for me to prove that I'm not guilty. And that I can do right now. Once that happens, again, I will have access to the private group. People start being able to post false stories about me daily everywhere I go, and then I'll be able to work properly, and I'll be able to have time to present the rest of my proof, and then get everything in court and then get justice. But for a moment, this must stop. This is a very important thing, and it needs to go to court. That's all that matters right now. And then this is the first step. I know what I have. I know that I can prove this. Despite society's much like us, I know I can prove everything. It was yeah. Again, I don't want to go out of the house. My last two working days are 100% proof of this. So the last one was with the one before the last one was with a pizza delivery, where before I went to work, I posted a message with the thing with the three-girl story that is false, and people might be cancelled for making it up, right? And then everybody made a false story about me the entire day. Clients and colleagues and everyone. The entire day. On and on and on. And I stopped. And then the next day, I stopped talking to people. So I went to clients and it was significant. If I don't say anything at the time, there's nothing to make up. And if they do, there's a recording. Look, I said nothing. Because people do it and interpret and twist things in psychotic manners, and I'm sick of that. And then what did he do? So there's another very important aspect, another infinite hypocrisy. So these people, there are hundreds of people who made blood money, right? Blood money because they committed crimes against me, and some of them made up small amounts of money, but some of them made millions of euros for destroying my life. They've been made both stars for it, and right, and the other people who committed crimes. So the tens of government workers who should be in prison. My parents should be in prison for a very long time. The people in the police department who should be in prison with all that, the police followed me around again. So I was coming back from work. Was what, it was 11, 12 o'clock. It was late. I was really tired. Police stopped me. Right? They stopped me because I was on my phone while I was cycling. I was looking for directions, right? And that happened. There was no one on the street, right? It was just me and the police. I had music in my ears, so I didn't hear them. Right, they stopped me, and this is 100% right. I was on my phone, right? Uh, it's a traffic offense. You deserve a fee for that. That's 100% correct. Think about that hypocrisy. So there are actual criminals in the police department who should be in prison for conspiring against me. The government workers who should be in prison for conspiring against me for tens of years. There tens, hundreds of people out there who made blood money for destroying my life, and the crimes are out for display in front of the entire planet. And police does not arrest any of them. But police follows me around to give me a traffic fee for being on my phone while cycling. This is the greatest hypocrisy in history, and it's more than that. I 100% assure you that just like everybody else that I interact with, they made up additional false stories based on that. Right? This is just one observation. The police guy was an Indian guy, right? And one day later, someone posted on the social media site that I put my version of the truth, which I can prove in court. They deleted most of it. They censored most of it, but one they didn't. It was exactly about the guy from the Asian restaurant. It was also an Indian guy who made up false stories, and then in the end made up the false story of the crime, right? And I know this. For people who are from the same country or have the same name, they make similar stories up. And someone commented on that post, and the post was made months ago. So it suggests that a recent story, right? It supports one of the stories made up in the time period described in that post. And yeah, it makes sense that the Indian guy from the police made up a similar story to the stories made up by the Indian guy from the Asian restaurant. And in the same day, I got like it happens often. The same day, I got some reactions that I'll be crying. Again, nothing happened, but people wanted to in the reality, in the false reality, they wanted me to be crying. So people made up false stories saying they'll be crying. And I think it was caused by the fact that it was that girl with the charging phone, right? And this is something that keeps repeating. They say that I like her, and then she makes fun of me and cyberbullies me and humanizes me, and then they pretend that I'll be crying, right, and to humiliate me, and then they justify all that by saying I'll be guilty of crimes. But in reality, ever since she made the false accusations at police in 2020, 2021, 2020, I think, yeah, I realized that she was not actually trying to help. I stopped liking her completely. I did not make any reference to her ever again until I realized that she made a lot of blood money for destroying my life, and that she made up false stories about me. So then the only references that I made about her are direct accusations that she's a criminal, which is 100% true and can be proven in court. But it's not what people want. So what people do, and this happens repeatedly, they say that I did or said something that would suggest that I liked her, and then they tell her that, and then she cyberbullies me for it, and uses society's false stories, and then society laughs and pretends that I'll be crying in order to humiliate me even more and cyberbully me even more. But all of these things are false. And there are multiple people who make up false stories regarding each of these elements in order to consolidate it as the truth, but absolutely everybody lies, and it's the same with all other topics. It is a false story of a false story, and then you get a completely false reality, and I can prove that because I record everyone. And then, so likely this Indian guy made up a similar story with what, so back to the police, yeah? This Indian guy from the police made up a similar story with what the other Indian guy made from the Asian restaurant, and probably said I'll be crying or something because other people the same day made up a similar story. And then here's the thing: I said that I was looking for directions, and it's also an element that people associate with the girl with the charging phone, the one that I just mentioned, right? So it's like 100% actually. I'm not quite sure about that. He used that in his false stories. Another thing that they did is they took my ID card and they pretended that they cannot read it. They asked for for the number of the identity card. I told them this is a number, and they pretended that they cannot write it down. And they kept me there for 10 minutes. And why did they do that? Because there were some drunk people around, and they're waiting for them to go away in order for them to likely be able to make up false stories without anyone seeing what's actually going on. Because it should have taken 2 minutes for them to take down to write down the address or my name or whatever stuff they were looking for in the ID card, but they didn't. They pretended they cannot read it. They took that 2 minutes. That would have taken the process would have taken 2 minutes, but they kept me there for over 10 minutes, and that's 100% because they needed time to make up false stories. And a couple of days before, police stopped me in the train station again for absolutely no reason. Why did they do that? They do that to intimidate me, to say, okay, look, we're rewarding all the criminals. We did this to you. We're innocent, nothing wrong. We're gonna be here checking on you, right? And they start, can we look in your bag? Can we? And what are you doing there? Oh, it's just a checkup. But the train was completely empty. There was no one else in the train. I was the only one who went, who was there. I went out of the train, and I was the only one there. Police was waiting only for me. They knew that I was the only one who was going to be there. And I don't know what the plan was. If they're going to make up some false charges or something, but that was what happened. And 2 days later, again, they stopped me with this thing with the phone. Yeah, the accusation is not wrong. I was on my phone. It deserves a fee. But think about it: the criminals inside the police department who committed crimes against me, and they're free. The hundreds of people who committed crimes against me, the crimes are out there on display for the entire planet to see, and they do not get arrested. They get promoted and rewarded, and they continue to make fun of me and of the crimes that they made up about me, and continue laughing about it, and they get money for it. They get blood money for it. And then police stops me as sort of, ironic hypocrisy and says, oh, you were on your phone, you must pay for it. But with the money that you don't have because you cannot keep a job because we torture you. It is the greatest hypocrisy in history. But on top of that, not only we stop you, but we make up multiple false stories about you to continue to humiliate and incriminate you. And that's what I do. And this is unfortunate, but this specific meeting with the police I didn't record because I didn't expect to meet anyone on the way. I turned off the recording. I knew the story, right? It was a 1 hour bike ride home. So I decided, okay, it's 12 in the night. No one's gonna be on the street. I'm gonna be alone. Half of the way was almost half of the way was through the forest. Who the hell was I gonna meet? But then police stopped me and I forgot to record. I was tired. And then I realized, oh no, they 100% made up false stories about me. It could be that, right? What I said with the Indian guy making similar stories about the other Indian guy, but it could be something else. I don't know what they made up. I said it based on the reaction of people on social media who commented on the post made months ago. But he could have made up that story in addition to other stories, or he could have made up completely different stories. But based on the reactions of taking 10 minutes instead of 2 minutes to give me that fee, I can assure you they made up false stories. And before that, the same year with the teenagers with the phone, um, they gave the address, but somehow the GPS took me somewhere else. So I called, right? I cannot record while I'm calling, so I need another recorder to record a call because the phone only records it when it's not in an active call. But I didn't have that, so that call was not recorded. I could call them, ask which is the address, and they kept me for 5 minutes on the phone. And at one point they were laughing. At the point when I heard them laughing, I knew 100% they made up something. I guarantee that those teenagers made up something. And an hour later, they said the pizza was cold. The pizza was not cold, but yeah, I've been a bit late with the pizza because I didn't find the address. But that's likely, it probably has something to do with whatever they made up. 100% assure you they made up something. And many other people made up false stories in the same name, from colleagues to clients, and I recorded everything. I can prove it. So these were two things. I didn't record the phone call with the teenagers and the stuff with the police. And it's extremely unfortunate because I know that they made up false stories. Every time there's an interaction that I don't record, I know that it ends, it results into false stories. Almost always, not always, but most of the times. And it's unfortunate, but I record nearly everything. I can prove that everybody lies everywhere I go. And it keeps going. The last 2 days of work, one on the bike courier and one on the pizza delivery, right? Every single time. It is definitive proof that everybody lies everywhere I go. The people who do that, people who destroy my life and commit crimes against me, are rewarded for it. They get someone in the hallway, but it doesn't matter. So they, they they keep making false stories up, right? And they keep getting ready for it. And people who done it in the past continue to get blood money out of it. And it doesn't stop. I don't want to go out of the house. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go to the supermarket. I don't want to go anywhere because this is torture. It's active torture. It's human rights abuse. And it is inhumane. It is not. It's unbearable. It cannot go on like this. So again, the false stories the government made up and maybe my family as well that I want to kill myself or kill other people. Those are false, right? Yep. Man, this guy doesn't shut up. But whatever. So these things are false. Are false, right? But that doesn't mean that they're not justified. They're completely justified. Okay, I'm gonna pause it here and start again when the guy finishes his phone call because right, the guy stopped talking on the phone. So these things are completely false, right? And then that does not mean that they're not justified. And probably 99% of people who commit suicide, they do it unjustifiably because it's the worst thing that could happen to you. If you die, is the worst thing. But no, there can be torture, which is worse than death. That's why I don't know if you know the story of people who the story with the Romans and the how do you call that in English? We call it the Dutch, the people who used to live in Romania thousands of years ago. They had a war with the Romans, and one of the kings got captured, and he knew he was going to be tortured. Right, he was going to be tortured, and it was worse than death, so he killed himself. And it was a justified killing, a justified suicide, because his remaining life would have been torture worse than death. Right, that's probably what the prisoners of war do. They know they're going to be tortured to death anyways, so they kill themselves. That's justified. But 99% of the suicides that happen, they're not justified. Whatever you're going through, you got a disease, or well, most of the diseases, most of the diseases are not that bad to be torture worse than death, or someone died, your parents died, your family died, your kids died, whatever. There are things that you can go over, or that you can continue to live your life. It's really negative, but you can continue to live your life. It's not active torture that is worse than death, but this is the fact that this is psychological torture and doesn't leave any scars is extremely misleading. I have right now I have 100% reason to kill myself and it's 100% justified because this is torture worse than death. I would prefer to go to prison. If I've been given a chance to go to prison instead of that, it'd be better. But I'm not going to go to prison because I can prove everything in court, including my innocence about both crimes. And and you don't believe me, that's fine. Like I said in my last video, just let it go to court, let it play out. If I'm guilty, I'll go to prison. I'm not going to go to prison. You are all going to go to prison. Not all of you, but many of you, hundreds of you, and rightfully so according to the law. That's what it says. They say that I'm a danger to society, but I'm not. I have every reason right now. 99% of people who commit mass shootings, or 100% of people who commit mass shootings, do it unjustifiably. I have the reason to do that because society actively tortures me in an inhumane manner, which is worse than death. Right? If picture that a prisoner of war is taken, and the torturer tortures him, and then in a moment where the torturer does not pay attention, the prisoner kills the torturer. That's justified because it was torture worse than death. But in this case, the entire society does this torture, and I'm the victim. So if I do a mass shooting, it would be 100% justified. But I won't do that again. I won't be a danger to anyone, not to myself, not to others. But this is just the reason, the proof of concept that it would be justified. This is one of the 0.0001% of times when these things would be justified, would be 100% justified. Because everybody does it. I go out of the house, they make up stories about me, on and on and on, it doesn't stop. Again, they try to inflict infinite pain. That was what my father did. He made up false stories about me. He destroyed the proof of my innocence, and then he showed me the middle finger and laughed. And then I was screaming, and I got blood coming out of my throat, saying that I'm innocent and everything was going to court. And what did he do? He recorded me. I think that's what he did based on the reactions of society. He recorded me while I was screaming in infinite pain, and then he posted it in a private group, a private global group, and said, "Look, my son is crazy. He must be locked up." That's what he did. And this is what society is doing now. It's no different. They show me very obvious signs that the people who destroy my life, the criminals who destroy my life, and made up false stories about me, that they've been turned into superstars because of their crimes, right? And they also show me that they're laughing at me for it, and then society laughs at me for it. And when I get angry and they can see that I'm in infinite pain, they laugh even more. And then when so they keep doing this and they keep making up false stories everywhere I go, they let me know about it too, right? they keep doing it. And then when so this is unbearable. It's not normal for this. I should literally just go and start a fight with everyone and try beating everybody up, and it would be completely justified. Like I said, if I start shooting everybody, it would be completely justified because everybody tortures me worse than death would be, right? And, but I don't do that. My self control is something that deserves a medal, right? I did nothing. Right? They said I made death threats. I didn't do that. I have a limit on what I'm able to do, and I didn't do that. They said I would start a fight. I would be a danger to people. I've never done that. The only time when I hit someone, I think was 2019 in the summer when I kicked somebody in the nose. Uh, there was not even didn't even hit him that hard, and it was based on exactly this thing. He kept doing things to piss me off. He likely made up false stories. I don't know what the story was, what the stories were. And he made up false stories, and then he kept treating me like trash, right? And he kept doing that in an obvious manner in order to get that reaction out of me. And then I realized that this is what people are doing. And I thought about it. Okay, I'm not going to start a fight. I'm not violent. I never fought with anyone. But they're trying to create this impression in order to say that I'm a bad person and a danger for everybody. So I said, okay, I'm not going to change who I am. I never started a fight, right? I'm not the kind of person who start a fight. You see me swear, you see me speak in extreme disgust, and rightfully so. You see me stop talking to people completely because everybody makes up false stories about me. You see that I'm extremely disgusted by this society. You see me very angry, but you're never going to see me hit someone. Unless it's self-defense, you're never going to see me do something like that. You're going to see me violent. Also, you're not gonna see me kill myself or hurt myself or any other this extreme sort of behavior. You're never gonna hear me say, make death threats. You, I said a lot of controversial things that would be controversial in a normal context. I said a lot of negative things about my parents, for example, but all of them are 100% justified, and none of them were a death threat. The reason why the government made that up was because they wanted to lock me up and pretend I'll be a danger to others so they can make up more false stories about me and then torture me to silence me. This is what society is trying to do now. They're trying to create infinite pain in the most psychopathic manners in order to get an extreme reaction out of me. This is what happened yesterday, basically. I was reacting as any other person would react in this situation, which everybody commits crimes against me. But again, my reaction was an underreaction. So again, I should have reacted far worse, but I didn't. And instead of the people who committed crimes against me to go to prison, they kicked me out. And this happens everywhere. This is an extreme hypocrisy. Everybody lies, everybody commits crimes against me and doesn't stop. Again, let me make some things clear. So, all the stories that say that I'll be a danger to others or to myself are false. It's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna kill myself. I'm never gonna kill anyone. I'm never gonna beat anyone up. I'm never gonna be violent to other people unless it's in self-defense. These things are never gonna happen. And like I said in my post, I'll take an infinite amount of pain, and I will keep going until I prove everything in court or until they I don't know, they lock me up or kill me or something to stop me. But but again, this is inhumane. It must not go on. The fact that I don't know, the fact that I haven't done any of these extreme things, or the fact that I don't have any scars on my body or on my face, it doesn't mean that this torture doesn't affect me. This is unbearable torture, which is more than just human rights abuse. It is inhumane torture, which again justifies killing myself or me trying to kill others. This is how bad this is. This torture worse than anything else possible. In terms of psychological torture, there's nothing worse. Only torture that could be considered worse or more intense is physical torture. But as mentioned in my book, physical torture has a limit. If I'm physically hurt, I'll eventually pass out. It's a self-defense mechanism of a self-protecting mechanism of the body. When you're in too much pain, it turns off. You just go to sleep. This doesn't stop. Psychological torture goes on and on and on, and it's for years. It's been more than 6 years. You cannot process the effects of this on my body. I have psychological scars that will never go away. I don't see myself being able to to connect to someone after this, and I'm the only person to whom this is justified, because everybody that I meet turns into a psychopath, into a functional psychopath determined to destroy my life and identity. Everybody, from everywhere, from every culture, from every country, from every place that I go. You can understand what this does to me. It is ridiculous. It is the greatest possible pain and frustration that a person can experience. It's the worst possible psychological torture. It doesn't stop. You all took an innocent life and completely destroyed it. I'm full of potential. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm a good person. I'm socially normal. I could have I could have a very great life. It's all destroyed, completely destroyed. It's irreparable. And the people who done that have been rewarded. And this is also irreparable. But partial justice can be achieved in court right now. Silence is a crime. This deal must be nullified. This must stop. I don't want to go out of my house because everybody lies. It literally makes me want to vomit just thinking about going out of the house. The deal must be nullified and everything must go to court. It's the only thing that can happen. Anything else would be just further injustice.